From the Hotel Indigo on Technology Drive along the Monongahela River just off campus from the great University of Pittsburgh near the Hot Metal Bridge. Welcome to the award-winning Pat Narduzzi Show. I'm Larry Richard with Panthers Chris Bickle, 97 head coach Pat Narduzzi. Coach, Thanksgiving, this is a big week in a lot of ways for you. Congrats. It was almost 2 weeks now since you had the win over Boston College.
Is it 2 weeks or is it almost a week?
It seems like, what did I say, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's a week, but this is like 2 weeks.
You know what? I'm the one that's messed up.
It'll be a week tomorrow. But, yeah, you were saying about the BC game. Yeah, it was a good win. It's happy for our guys. They needed that, and they stepped up in a big way. Lots of focus, lots of details, and that's what happens when you take care of that.
Yeah, when you look at the stats, I mean, it's as balanced as you can get. Passing, rushing, defense, and special teams. It's what you ask your team to do is play 60.
Play 60 and play complementary football. Like we haven't, we played good on one side and maybe not on the other, and then special teams have a good game and a bad game, but we played together, and it was good to see that finally.
And in particular, Rodney Hammond Jr. rushing, 145 yards, really strong performance by him. And Coach's special guest is Nate Yarnell, who's going to be here in just a few minutes with us, and he had a solid game. I don't want to put you on the spot because he's sitting right there, but for this young man to come in and win a football game, he did everything you asked him to do.
No question about it. I've said it many, many times. Nate's probably sick of hearing it, but just a lot of faith in who he is as a leader and a person, and you win with people, and again, it doesn't matter, how tall he is, how short he is, how strong his arm is, all those. But you win with good people, and Nate is that. He's first class.
Yeah, he's also, when you say how tall, he's 6'6".
Yeah, he's tall.
He doesn't have to get up on his toes to look over.
He could be 6'4" and be okay, too.
Yeah, and it was nice to see Nate out there and get the support from the entire team. Just feels good to win.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
That said, you have an opportunity to close out the season on the road at Duke. We'll also talk about the Blue Devils. They started hot. They are 6-5 on the year, 3-4 in the ACC, and their last two outings, they came up short against Virginia, and then it went to double overtime against Drake May and North Carolina. But they had it going for a while. But once again, you run into a situation where you're not 100% who the quarterback is going to be for the game.
Yeah, we don't really know, but we'll check that out. I would guess it's going to be, Grayson Loftus, from what I hear. Sounds like Riley Leonard had a surgery very similar to what Matt Gonsalves had with the toe. But we'll see.
And we'll have a chance to run down the individuals, players of the week. And we'll do that when we come back. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And a lot of people out and about on this Wednesday that feels very much like a Friday, Coach. And for the team, how do you handle having Thanksgiving tomorrow? What will the team do? I know you typically would have a perfect Thursday.
Yeah.
You kind of walk through the game, and then you got to have a Thanksgiving something or other, right?
So today at lunch, which is Wednesday, our last 2 weeks, our days have gotten all messed up. But today, our guys had a big Thanksgiving meal at our facility. So we kind of celebrated as a team today. Kevin Blinn, our chef over there, is unbelievable. I mean, you can ask Nate later on just about how they eat in that building. But, Kevin Blinn, the chef for the Steelers and the Panthers, is the best. 9 years, I've never had a bad meal. I don't get sick of it. It's unbelievable. But the Thanksgiving meal that he cooked up, they will be hard-pressed to have one like that on Thanksgiving Day. So tomorrow morning we'll get up early. We'll be on. We'll be in. I think team meeting at 7:25. So the guys will be up there early, ready to roll. And we got a noon game this week, so it's good to be up early every day, right? But we'll get up early. We'll have our our practice Thursday, and then we'll give our kids the day off. And everybody's got a place to go. They all. We make sure. We got some guys going to coach's house by position. Some I am going to see my aunt. I mean, local guys are taking a bunch of guys home. So it's pretty neat how we do it. And, a lot of the local guys, like, Blake Saboke's always got a bunch of guys over his house and Cradle. They'll take them up to Butler and have a feast. So it's just neat how our guys will get around. And I know Nate can tell you his plans, but he's going to be with a couple of his buddies on the team.
Yeah, and I saw few of the players last night at Ross Park Mall.
You
I'm
did,
walking
huh?
through the mall, and guess what? I saw Deion Hayes, and there were a whole bunch of people, and I yelled out, ACC Defensive Player of the Week. He turned around. His face lit up. It was pretty cool. We'll talk about him, and let's talk about Players of the Week. And we'll start with special teams. All three phases of your Panther team performed well against Boston College. So let's talk about special team player of the week.
Yeah, special teams player of the week was Kyle Lewis. He had a 93% grade and is I think 18 plays in special teams. He's played a lot of linebacker for us this year. He was out for about 3 or 4 weeks in the middle of the season with an undisclosed injury. But he is back, and he's a good football player. He had that the tackle on the last punt where he got the tackle about the 11-yard line. He was the one that made that tackle, so he was our special teams guy. Defensively, Deion Hayes, very productive. He started strong, and hopefully he finishes strong. But had 6 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 3 PBUs. He had 3 nice batted down balls. 1 batted back to the quarterback, but Deion played really well. And then offensively, we had 2 guys. The first one is, you mentioned his name early, Rodney Hammond, with 15 carries for that 145 yards. He had 2 big runs, to add to that 145. So he was special, and we got him enough carries to get that done. Then Nate Yarnell, our guest today, 11 to 19 for 207 yards, and he had also 4 carries for 24 yards and 2 TDs. So Nate played really well, played within the framework of the offense.
And one of the big statistics that stood out to me, and I'm sure you, no sacks. And that is credited to, in part, certainly to the men up front. The offensive lineman of the week is?
Blake Zabovic. He gave up 0 sacks and 0 pressures. As a team, we give up 0. And it's nice when you give up 0 and you have 7. That's a pretty good number, 7 to 0. It's hard to get 7 sacks in a game. So great job by Blake being the unsung hero or the offensive lineman of the week. We have our unsung heroes, guys that, maybe didn't do enough to be that player of the week. But special teams, Dylan Bennett, a walk-on outside linebacker, it did a nice job for us, 92% grade. And special teams probably played about 22 snaps there. And then we had 2 unsung heroes on defense. P.J. O'Brien with 3 tackles that had that critical interception down inside the red zone there, tight zone. Did a nice job. And David Green, senior captain David Green with 3 tackles. And then offensively, that unsung hero is Bub Means, 3 receptions, 78 yards, and a big-time TD from Nate Yarnell.
Yeah, we'll talk with Nate about that because he really did a nice job of pump faking it and froze the defense, which allowed Bub to get open, and he just darted it out there. That was a significant moment in the game. Defensive attack force players of the week?
Was Donovan McMillan. I mean, you see number 3 all over the place. He had 13 tackles on the day. He's just a trustworthy guy. He's going to make the tackle, and we got him in the right position, and we appreciate all the things he's done there.
Yeah, he was your special guest, and he had a great game.
He had a great game. Special guests always have a great game.
That's right.
So I'm expecting 350 passing, 3 TDs.
And by the way, Donovan McMillan, who went to Peters Township, said he was excited because he played on a Thursday, so he got to see his high school team with his family members win the WPIAL championship against Pine Richland on Saturday. So he's been having a great year. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And your Rocks players of the week, for those that don't know, these are the guys that give you the look of the team you're facing every week.
Yeah, they do a great job, and sometimes they don't do a great job. But we try to get them as locked in as we can. Special teams, Josh Altsman has done a nice job. Central Catholic grad. He's got a brother Matt on the team that does an outstanding job as well. Offensively, everybody will probably remember this name and know this name, Josh Junko. And Josh does a nice job. Everybody knows Caleb's our punter. Well, Josh is our senior wide receiver that was out at senior day last week. So he gives us a great look every week. Details matter on these Rocks. And then defensively, Luke Delgadio was our guy that just gives the offense a look every week.
And for those that don't know, a lot of times these are opportunities for these players to show the coaching staff their level of ability, and you've, including Nate Yarnell, loved what he was doing when he was a Rock quarterback.
No doubt about it. We knew we had a player watching him on the Rocks. Period. Knew it last year. I've said that 100 times, and we're looking for guys under the guys that produce on the Rocks are guys that are going to be your future players.
And when we come back, Coach Narduzzi's special guest is quarterback Nate Yarnell. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Voice of the Panthers, Bill Hillgrove, calling a big touchdown against Boston College. Nate Yarnell, the quarterback. Bub Means, the receiver. That pump fake worked to perfection there, Nate. And Nate is redshirt sophomore quarterback from Austin, Texas. A Texas gunslinger now after flicking that touchdown. You just flicked that. That's what I liked about it. And Coach's special guest. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was great to get a win on a Thursday and at home.
And you seem really comfortable out there. In fact, on that particular play, you were patient in the pocket. You took your time, and that pump fake made the difference, froze the D, and you were able to find Bub streaking down the right side.
It's easy to be comfortable when you trust the guys around you, and I got a lot of trust in that O-line, and I knew, Bub can make plays, and, I watched him, and he took it 60 yards to the house. So,
what kind of communications do you have in-game with the offensive line? Because I know there's a lot going on. Your center's calling out different blocking schemes, and you're all working together. There's a lot of moving parts.
Definitely. We all got our jobs, and during the game, most of the time I leave those guys alone because they're with Coach Borbs and they're working it out on their own. If I see something, I'll go and talk to them, but most of the time I'm just there to encourage and just let them do their job. And
for those that don't know, Nate played in Western Michigan last year. You came in and had a great game. In fact, you were ACC Offensive Player of the Week for that game, so that you had 2 wins notched. What's it like to get back out there knowing that you're the starting quarterback?
So much fun. I really love this game, and I love being at Pitt, so it was just a lot of fun to get out there on the field.
And you seem to have a really tight quarterback room. I'm sure the other guys are encouraging you, and you're picking their brains too. They have some input to try to help you in any way they can, right?
Without a doubt. That whole quarterback group is, on the sideline helping me out. We're talking through, what I could have done better on this play or what they maybe saw and I didn't. So, so much support in that room, nothing but positivity. So I couldn't be more grateful to be in that room.
It seemed to me like the game slowed down for you. You seem really comfortable out there.
I try to stay calm, collected, just stay, smooth, just execute. So that's my goal out there.
I was half joking at 6'6", though. You got a vision of the field that's a little better than most.
Yeah, I think it definitely helps seeing over the line, but yeah, definitely.
So, Austin, Texas, how does Pitt get you in 2021 to come to the University of Pittsburgh?
Coach Narduzzi, it was COVID, so it was all crazy around that time, and so we did a lot of video chats with my family, and just showing what Pitt was about. Had Kenny call me, which was really exciting, and I could just feel that we were moving in a positive direction, and that's something I want to be a part of.
Yeah, Coach, that process.
COVID?
That was a crazy time.
Crazy.
But, still, to get you from Texas, you were highly recruited, and you're always curious, what was it that made you commit to Pitt?
I came in that October just on my own, just to see Pittsburgh and, just the atmosphere that Pittsburgh has around its sports was something that I really identified with. Coming from Texas, we love football, absolutely love it. And I think that resonated with me here as well. And I knew this is a place that I would enjoy coming to.
Lake Travis High School, right?
Lake Travis.
And I've never been to Austin. I hear it's an awesome city. I've been to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston, but I hear Austin's a great town.
It is. Lake Travis is great. They're still going in the playoffs, so I'm excited to see how they do. So
you have 3 brothers. Where are you in the pecking order?
I'm the middle. My older brother he's a fighter pilot. He went to the Air Force Academy, and then my 2 youngest are 13 and 11, so they're still coming up at Lake Travis.
A fighter pilot?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool, yeah. He lets me know how cool it is.
He's got a more exciting job than you
does.
do. Really?
He does.
Think about it.
Did you go see Maverick with him?
No. He'd just pick it apart or whatever. Oh, they wouldn't do
this
that.
This isn't real.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No. You ever have a chance to fly with him?
No. I'd absolutely love to do that. I'm not sure if that's possible, but that'd be awesome.
Well, down the road, probably. I got to fly once with the Blue Angels as a press ride and the Thunderbirds. It was, believe me, one of the most.
Would you do it again?
One more time. We actually buzzed the Steelers at training camp. So we flew out of Latrobe, and the Steelers were in camp. And the Navy pilot says to me, "You want to say hello to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the way in because it's right over, the runway, and he wagged, and the whole team looked up and gave him the yeah, and I'm like, this is pretty cool.
That's awesome, yeah.
Till he blanked me out. Pulled 9 Gs, I passed out.
You G'd out? Yeah.
He goes, don't feel bad. I did that to Coach Cower yesterday, so this was back in the day. Anyway, that's pretty cool. So let's get back to football. On the road, this is another opportunity for you. Close out this season on a high note, facing pretty talented Duke Blue Devil team. So what's your scouting report on what you're going to see Saturday at noon?
Absolutely. I know they're a good defense. Boston College is great, but we're focused on Duke, and that's the priority. We got one more week, one more opportunity, so that's what we're all focused on.
And there's one guy who's going to be looking for you. His name is Dwayne Carter. Are you aware of this guy?
I am, number 90. Yeah, he'll be coming, but we're going to have answers, and we're going to just not worry about. We're going to do our thing, and we're going to execute football, execute the game. Does
it change much that Coach and I were kind of joking about having a noon kickoff? You haven't had one in a couple seasons. That warm up to game day. Most of the games have been at 3:30. Does that make much of a difference for you?
Absolutely not. I wake up and I'm ready to go. I mean, I was like on Thursday. It's a night game. I'm waking up. I'm just like, gosh, I just want to get on the field. It's time to go. So I'm super excited. It's a 12 o'clock game. I think I'm gonna wake up and be ready to go. The whole team is.
And also, you have kind of a protocol that you do to warm up for games.
Yeah, sometimes most of the time I look for a piano in the hotel and play that, and then just listen to, like, I have a certain playlist. I'm pretty superstitious, so it's good.
What are some of the songs? Would Coach and I know any of them?
I have no idea. I like Tame Impala a lot. I like more like chill songs, kind of just so my mind's working right. So.
Did you know he's a accomplished piano player, Coach?
Accomplished is strong. Accomplished is a strong word.
He's really good.
Accomplished is a very
good.
strong word.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty good.
you can read music, but you didn't really have super formal lessons. You play by ear, right?
Yeah, I got lessons for a year, and that helped me. And so, but I definitely now just play by ear. So just have fun with it.
We'll have more with quarterback Nate Yarnell when we come back. We have a baby grand piano we've rolled in. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And your quarterback from Pitt, number 19, Nate Yarnell, is Coach Narduzzi's special guest. It's kind of fun to be able to do that for Kenny Pickett at Steeler games. Who knows what future has in store for you. But, Nate, I'm excited for you as you go to Duke and take on the Blue Devils. And I would imagine, is it changed much that you're the starter, going in, preparation, all those things that go into getting you prepared for a game?
I'm we get a long week going into this one, so more time to watch film, more time to get prepared. So that's definitely something I was looking forward to this week, and excited to use that preparation this weekend.
And I would imagine you guys, you had some challenges this season, but you have a chance to end on a high note. What is the mood of the team?
Mood's great. Coming off a win, everybody's positive. I think we're all locked in, ready to go. I think we all want this one.
And you guys were able to get that win. I know the seniors, it was a big emotional night to be at Acrisure at home for the last time for most of those guys, and it paid off. Did you feel an extra emotional lift because of that?
I think so, for sure. We didn't want to let those seniors down. That whole class has a lot of great guys on it, and I think the mood of the team, we're a strong bond, and so none of us want to let those guys down.
And who do you pattern yourself after, a quarterback, professional? Is there a particular quarterback you like, their style, or how you got to be a quarterback in high school?
I love Tom Brady. I think saying I try to be like him is, obviously he's the best that's ever done it, but that's definitely someone I look up to and someone I try to model my game after.
Yeah, he's done all right
pretty
for
good.
himself. Yeah,
he's pretty good.
Here's what's crazy, though. His old coach, Bill Belichick, and by the way, the Patriots going to come to Pittsburgh on a Thursday night here in a few weeks. Here's a guy who, as a coach, won 6 Super Bowls, and now they're having a challenging season, and all of a sudden, that's the ebb and flow. you've got to block out the noise, the good, the highs, and the lows. Are you able to do that? Are you a social media guy?
No, absolutely not. I don't think I've made a social media post in I don't even know how long.
Oh, Coach likes that.
Yeah, I haven't. I try and stay away from that stuff, and I'm like, maybe I should post, but then I'm like, the comments and all that, I just don't want to have to deal with it. So after the season, maybe I'll get on there, but I try to stay away from it.
Yeah, and in reality, and it's just the world we live in, the more negative stuff is about anything, it gets more attention, and so that becomes the talk, and it's kind of a trap thing, and I know a lot of coaches, particularly in college, say, guys, you got to block that out because there's going to be a lot out there, and none of it matters to your performance unless you allow it to be.
Definitely. Just try and stay within our building and then focus on the guys around you because those are the only guys that are going to be on the field.
Now, I know throughout the season it's coach speak to say, 1-0, we're only focused on Duke. However, since it is the last game of the year, what happens next? What do you guys do to prepare in the offseason, already getting ready for next year?
We just look back at our mistakes and move forward. I think we have a fantastic offseason program. I think Coach Stack gets us mentally ready and as well as physically. I think we take that and try and build a positive mindset going forward. Just look at what we need to fix and work on it.
And one of the things Coach said is you're going to add some weight in the offseason.
Yeah, probably need to do that.
I don't know. Good. So when you came here, you weighed what, 190?
Yes, sir. I'm like 210 now. So, yeah.
There was a time when 210 was – now you got to be big. How big do you need to get at 6'6"?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe 225. Who knows? Yeah, I think 225 would help take some hits off, so that's good. And
what do you do to relax? We always ask the guys, when you're not doing football, which is all in, and then your academics, what do you do to chill?
I like playing chess. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy playing, some chess. Try not to play it in class. Sometimes, get a little distracted, but that's something I like to do to relax.
You're a political science major?
I am. Yes.
Do you have any idea post-football what you might be interested in? Which
you know,
hopefully will be a long, long time.
I'm trying to focus on football and just get my first degree, but I maybe law school. Who knows? Just trying to take it one day right now, especially one day at a time. So.
What kind of line of work is your dad in?
He's a lobbyist.
Oh,
he's a lobbyist.
Well, then see, Coach, makes sense. We talked to some of the other players. Their dads are high school coaches. Who do we have just a couple of weeks ago?
Well, Donovan's dad's a high school
Donovan's dad?
teacher and coach.
Yeah, and Coach can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
And what about, you mentioned the music, so you're playing the piano, but what are some of the songs that are on your hot list?
I'm trying to think. Let It Happen's on there by Tame Impala. I already said them earlier. I'm trying to think what else. Probably some like Coldplay, something really generic, but just calm and
I know
collected.
Coldplay.
Yeah, I love Coldplay. Who doesn't love Coldplay? Yeah.
Any country music? And there's an assumption you're from Texas.
Yeah, Brooks and Dunn. Yeah, maybe some.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on there. So yeah, just definitely a wide assortment, but it's good.
Well, Nate, we appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you on the charter. Looking forward to watching you perform at Duke on Saturday at noon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Let's hear it for Pitt quarterback number 19, Nate Yarnell. When we come back, speaking of quarterbacks, we've got Pat Bostic. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And want to take a moment to thank the good folks here at the Indigo Hotel who have been very gracious this entire season. Thanks to all of you for making us feel so welcome for the Coach Pat Narduzzi Show. And we are joined by former Pitt quarterback. He is also Senior Associate Athletic Director of Major Gifts at the University of Pittsburgh, Pat Bostic.
Larry, happy Thanksgiving.
You too, partner, and a lot to like from Thursday night. Looking at statistics, which don't always tell the tale, but it's about as balanced as you can be in all three phases of the game.
No question. I think time of possession, you would like to have a little bit more kicks at the can. BC was good in that area, though. I thought the explosion was great. And the guy sitting in the chair before me, the real number 19, was outstanding.
I was just going to say, man, that was your number, right?
I thought that number got retired.
He looked, yeah, it got retired because it was a jinx. So no one else wanted it. So Nate took it, and, I couldn't be more proud of him. He's a great kid. He handles himself well, and he's a Pitt man.
Yeah, when you look at his statistics, he rushed for 24 yards. He threw for 207. He had no sacks. It's managing a football game as a quarterback can do. But the one thing that seemed to really stand out to me, and I'm just a guy on the sideline, but I mentioned it to him, is his patience.
Yeah, he doesn't get phased. I mean, I think it comes from playing on the scout field, Coach. I think when you're on the scout team and you're playing this defense,
that's a good point.
You're not really you're not exactly sitting back there playing against a three-man rush and, patting the ball forever. So, Coach, that plays into it. I mean,
no doubt about it. I know it made him in the past, be successful, when he took that start at Western Michigan. I've seen quarterbacks, I could tell, like scout team quarterbacks, if they're going to be worth a darn just watching them out there. If they're panicked and maybe we should put everybody back there and just let them go spring ball. Maybe we should just make everybody live this spring. I might.
I mean, we were live when I played at times, and it was like, okay, a little bit different. Now you can get comfortable with a red jersey on because you're not going to get hit. And it's, you're kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't in today's football. If you get a guy hurt, all of a sudden, he's not so smart, the head coach. But I think playing with live bullets, being a scout team quarterback, getting that opportunity is great training for the real thing.
And then special teams were good too, flipping the field.
Yeah, they were. I mean, obviously they're good. Would have liked to make the deep kick, but would have liked to get the first down too on 3rd and 7. But I thought it was solid. I mean, I was talking to Andre Powell this week for the pregame show, and some of the young guys on special teams making plays, guys like Rylan Gandy, guys like Kenny Johnson, even making tackles. I mean, that's a untold part of development for players or playing on special teams. We talk about them playing on defense or offense, but special teams.
Marion Crumpley's done a nice job. He's really shown a lot of things. Even Javante Roy's made some plays on special teams.
And, Coach, if fans would take a look at, the special teams, the starters, they may be surprised to see who's in there. How do you determine who's on special teams outside of, obviously, the specialists, the kickers? We get that.
Well, it's, who can you trust? I mean, I think the game comes down to trust. You only get so much work on special teams. I mean, it's a third of the game, but you only get, maybe 15 minutes a day on the field practicing those special teams. So it's guys that can tackle. A lot of times it's defensive guys as opposed to offensive guys who are catching balls. So you see a lot more DBs than receivers. But it comes down to, them knowing what to do, and we train them. We teach them all the fundamentals, whether it's running down on a kickoff, getting off a block on punt team, protection, punt team. So you're taking as many of those guys. And some guys don't want to play special teams. I mean, there's some guys that think that they're maybe too good. I'll never forget James Conner the first year, with the Steelers was like, man, Coach, I wish I'd have played kickoff. They got me running down kickoff. Well, it doesn't help you when you never run down on kickoff.
Yep.
So it helps all those guys at the NFL, make a team. It might be the reason you make a team because you're really good on the punt team and protection and coverage and kickoff coverage. So just finding those guys, and again, it's a lot of those young guys. That's their first way to get on the field is to show that they can, line up for, one. You go out there for one play and then you go on the sideline. Then a few plays later, we call you up again. You get to run out there and do it one more time. But it's one play. Give it all you got. Make sure you execute and do the right things.
And that's what you asked your team to do last week, and they did for 60 minutes in all 3 phases. And when we come back, we'll get the scouting report on the Duke Blue Devils from Pat Bostic. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. And here's what you need to know about the matchup with Pitt and Duke. Saturday at noon, we'll be on the air at 10 a.m. on your Pitt Panthers Network station. What you need to know is brought to you by PNC Bank. Make today the day. Pat Bostic, you've sat down. Let's just go over, for those that don't know, Duke started hot this year. They were on a roll, won their first 4 games, getting a lot of talk, lost a close one to Notre Dame. Beat NC State, lost to Florida State, Louisville, beat Wake Forest, and then double overtime, North Carolina against Drake May, and lost last week, maybe a surprise to Virginia. But they've had some challenges with an injury at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, Riley Leonard was kind of a key to what they've done. And, look at the stats. The biggest difference to me between him and Loftus is the rushing. I mean, he averaged 6 yards a carry. Which is significantly more than Loftus has given them in the run game. That's probably his biggest asset is extending plays and running the football, and that was their personality offensively. And when you lose that type of that key piece, it changes what you do. Not necessarily what you do, but how you do it. And I think, Coach and Coach Bates in this defense, obviously not preparing for, if Riley Leonard doesn't go, the same type of attack in terms of quarterback run.
And by the way, Duke is at 6-5 on the season. And like any team, you want to end the season on a high note. So how do you feel the Panthers match up against the Blue Devils?
I think it's two tough physical teams. I mean, Coach Elko's done a good job. They want to run the ball. They're pretty I wouldn't say they're vanilla on defense, but they do what they do. They do it well. They mix it up a little bit. They're veteran. They've got a very, very experienced defensive line. They kind of bend, but they don't break. Don't give up a lot of big plays. They're not highly penalized. They're well coached. So it should be a darn good football game. It's their senior day, so that's a big deal for them. And, obviously they don't like how they finished the season, but, last game to make a mark as Duke Blue Devils for them and for a lot of Pitt Panthers. I mean, guys that you've coached for 6, sometimes 7 years, guys like David Green and Marquez Williams that have played a lot of football, and it's a sad deal when it ends, but it's better when you win.
No doubt about it. Those seniors played their tails off last week, and
They sure did.
that was senior day, last home game. This is their last game, and some of them the last game they've ever played in.
It sometimes goes beyond fans. Not everybody advances, and you create a lifetime of memories. We talked about this last week with the senior team. Most of those seniors experienced the ultimate high of an ACC championship and another great year last year, a big bowl win. And so you're looked at, and those relationships, Pat, last a lifetime.
Yeah, they last a lifetime. Your career never typically doesn't end when you want it to as a player. Just like any team, everyone but one team is going to finish on a loss or not when they want to finish. So, you control that you get an opportunity to play, on Saturday afternoon at noon, as you mentioned, which is great. And that you get, 4 quarters to play as Pitt Panthers and put a mark on this thing. And I do think for a lot of the nucleus of the team that'll come back, how you finish the season is important. I mean, you look at November, the last 3 seasons really, for Coach Narduzzi's club, they finished on a high, finished with consecutive wins to parlay that into an important offseason. So you don't think about that as a player, but I think as a program it's certainly important, and you'll feel better on Sunday having won.
The Dukes, Mike Elko's in his 2nd season, and Coach, there's always great relationships. How well do you know Coach Elko?
He's been in the league for a couple of years. I've known him when he was kind of the D coordinator down at Wake, and then he went to Notre Dame and Texas A&M. So he's been around a little bit, but he's a good football coach. He's a great man too.
And as we come to the end of the season, Coach, what happens next once Saturday's over, in the books?
He gets a break. He gets to chill out and relax.
Go to the beach.
We talk about this every year where, there is a plan and it's pretty rigorous, and people think, okay, we'll see you next year, but it's far, far from over. In fact, it actually hits the reset button, and then you go through the process of recruiting and continue that, right?
Yeah, next Friday is December 1st, so we'll be on the road that day. Up until that point, we'll just kind of be with our kids in our building, just taking care of them, making sure everything's good, getting ready. They'll be lifting next week, getting ready for the off season, and getting organized, recruiting for our coaches, and kind of meeting with our players. End of the year meetings, just making sure they're all in good shape.
And the transfer portal has changed the game. What is that process like? So for fans that are listening, they hear about it, and every week we see all these transfers into programs. What component is that play, and how does that work for you guys?
I have no idea. It opens up, I think, December 4th, I believe. The portal opens up, and
And then any player can put themselves in that portal.
Anybody can go in the portal, and you can pull in. It sounds like I'm hearing that a lot of teams are out there tampering. So, I'm not allowed to go call a defensive back at Notre Dame saying, hey, if you want to transfer, we'll take you. I'm not, we're not allowed to do that. But it sounds like there's a lot of people, because there's no rules anymore. That's what's happening, is people are trying to poach, which we know what happened with Jordan Addison a couple years ago. But you have to worry about, is someone going to come after you guys? Has someone been talking to them for a month or two? Has someone been talking to them for a year? Who knows? And then, we'll see how that whole thing plays out.
It's a big component of the game that's being played today. And for those that don't know, in the old days, if someone wanted to transfer, they had to sit a full year if they were
Or graduate. Yeah.
or graduate, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just another layer. But I think the most important thing is the guys that are in that locker room now and making sure that they have a chance to finish school and do all the things they're going to do and have their meeting with coach. And you listen to Nate. He wants to put weight on, put some weight on, get back in the room. He loves being here. And I think most of these kids, I mean, they love being here. I watched practice on a 4-game losing streak, and I didn't see anybody out there brooding. They want to win. So ultimately, everyone's got to put all chips in and be committed to playing better next season. And obviously, that starts playing Saturday, but then the whole offseason.
And Patrick, how will you spend Thanksgiving tomorrow?
I got my father-in-law here. He's in a sling, so he's on the IR. We're going to watch the hoops team tonight, which will be great. 9:30 tip-off against Florida and Brooklyn. Women's soccer, Dustin's heading down to Tallahassee. The Gray family over here, we'll give them a round of applause.
Yeah, they've been great.
They're heading to Tallahassee. Women's soccer plays Friday, Elite 8, which is crazy, and then leave for Durham at 3 o'clock on Friday. We'll see you on the plane.
Well, one of the things I'm thankful for is having a chance to work with you, Pat.
Likewise, my friend.
Really enjoy what we get to do. And, Coach, we don't take it for granted. We love what we do so much. So every game's important to us, too.
We appreciate you guys and everything you guys do for Pitt football and the University of Pittsburgh.
Let's hear it for Pat Bostic. And when we come back, final thoughts. You're listening to the Pat Narduzzi Show, presented by Dollar Energy Fund on the Pitt Panthers Radio Network. Final thoughts with Panthers head coach Pat Narduzzi as they get ready to face the Duke Blue Devils on the road at noon to close out the 2023 season. Coach, an opportunity to end on a high note. It's as simple as that.
No doubt about it. Like every week, Larry, it's a one-game season. We get a chance to be 1-0. I think our kids are really excited about this game. I think last week gave them a little bit more energy. They know that, hey, if we take care of the details, that we can win a football game. So I'm looking forward to see what these guys have Saturday afternoon.
Coach, what are you grateful for?
Oof, boy, I'm grateful for a lot. I'll start, obviously, with my family, my wife and 4 children. Grateful for every opportunity they give me to do what I love to do, coach this game, and grateful for everything they give me when I'm home, all the love that I get from the house. And I'm grateful for the University of Pittsburgh for giving me an opportunity to be the head football coach at the University of Pittsburgh. It's not an easy job. It's not easy to go into year 9 or year 10, and I'll get that opportunity.
Good luck against the Blue Devils.
Thanks, Larry, and appreciate you, brother.
You got it, man.
Thank
Let's
you.
hear it for Coach Pat Narduzzi.